waiting on Facebook. Okay. All right. Scotty, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for another day of life. Thank you for the liberty that we enjoy, the freedom that we have. We pray that you would continue to watch care over our community as many are still sick from the pandemic. We pray that you would be with them, strengthen them, be with the families that have had loss, and be with our first responders and our frontline workers during this difficult time. Pray that you'd be with us today, give us wisdom and guidance, and that everything we do would be found pleasing in your sight. And we ask it in the name of Jesus. And everybody said, Amen. Amen. Thank you, everyone. We will now begin our meeting of October the 7th, 2021. And we will start by approving the minutes of September the 30th, which has been submitted from that meeting for us to review. And if that review has happened, could we get a motion to approve those minutes?
Make a motion to approve.
I will vacate the chair to second that.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
In the matter of request for appropriation of funds,
Are there any questions or comments in regards to item 2 today? Hearing none,
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
In the matter of request for appropriation transfer of funds,
Questions or comments in regards to item 3? Hearing none,
Make a motion to approve.
second.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
In the matter of accepting miscellaneous reports,
Questions or comments in regards to item 4? Hearing none,
Make a motion to approve.
second.
Or accept, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Mr.
I'll
Powell.
second.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
In the matter of resolution authorizing the Scioto County engineer to request the director of the Ohio Department of Transportation to review engineering and traffic investigation regarding White Gravel McDaniel Road, County Road 18.
We did receive a request by a citizen to check the speed limit on White Gravel Road in a particular section. And it is a high traffic area, plus it is a area where there are children that are playing a lot in that area. So we referred that to Engineer LeBrun, and he is sending, as per the Ohio Revised Code, a request for us to request him to do a study, excuse me, and to do that and to determine what the speed limit should be on that road. So with that, are there any questions or comments in regards to item 5? Hearing none,
Make a motion to adopt.
I will second.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
In the matter of approving payment of the regular schedule of accounts for the various funds, moral obligations, and the then announced certificates in the total amount of $822,503.88.
Questions or comments in regards to item 6? Hearing none,
Make a motion to approve.
second.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
In the matter of access Scioto County capital replacement, monthly invoice, charter service, and incidental use certifications for September of 2021.
On this particular, on item 7, I'm sorry, are there any questions or comments in regards to item 7? Hearing none,
Make a motion to approve.
second.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
In the matter of request for approval to apply for body-worn camera grant from Ohio Department of Public Safety, Office of Criminal Justice Services.
In this particular grant request, Scioto County Sheriff is requesting to apply to the Ohio Department of Public Safety, Office of Criminal Justice Services under the State of Ohio Body-Worn Camera Grant Program. The purpose of this project is to obtain funding for body-worn cameras and a data server. No match is required. There is no funding cap. However, funding is limited and prioritized for agencies that do not currently have a body camera program. With that, are there any questions or comments in regards to that?
My comment here would be just to show appreciation to Sheriff Thurman for going after this grant money. Clearly, anytime it's no match required is great, but the actual purpose of the grant to protect our first responders and our citizens. So, thank you, Sheriff Thurman.
I think it's a good idea. I echo what you say about our sheriff, and also it's interesting that the solid waste district is already using these and have been for some time, and they actually had some admit to a felony on the camera. This was a couple weeks ago. So it's very interesting how those have multiple uses, but yeah, so it's definitely something that is very useful for our law enforcement, first responders as well. So with that, can we get a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
In the matter of resolution authorizing the chairman of the Board of Scioto County Commissioners to apply for ODOD Water and Wastewater Infrastructure Grant Program regarding Scioto Water, Inc.
This particular grant is, there are several grant programs going around the state of Ohio right now in regards to water and wastewater infrastructure grant funding. And this particular one was for Scioto Water, which operates all across everywhere in Scioto County in a lot of places. And they had several grants that they're applying for several projects. And part of that, the way it's structured is it has to funnel through the county commissioners at some point to sign off on that, as well as our economic development team. They came in, they talked to us about the need in several areas to upgrade the water infrastructure, and this is part of that. So this is basically a permission that once they finish the application, they do all that, we will work together to actually do that application together. The commissioners have to be the one to actually file. So, but there's a lot of technical expertise that's involved in that, and that's not me, okay? But it's where I will review the application, make sure that everything's kosher, make sure everything's fine, and then we will proceed with the application. It's actually for quite a bit, millions in funding to upgrade our water systems, which is something we need to do regularly in our county. So this is for water only, working with Scioto Water, which they very much appreciate the work that they do, as well as our other water systems, Water One, Northwest Water, everyone, Portsmouth Water, everybody getting clean water to our people. But this would be basically where once they do it, I'll sign off once everything's good.
Great.
Any questions or comments beyond that?
As long as your expertise isn't what's driving the application.
I'll take that. I will honestly say I'm not an engineer, so yes, that'll be fine, and I'll second that.
I made a motion to approve.
Okay.
That was a side-handed motion. Yes,
Convoluted.
it was. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Yes. Yes. Aye.
That is
All
everything on the
right.
agenda.
Well, yeah. Hey, look, if you can't have fun at work, then don't do it, right? So you need to be able to laugh at times. So anyways, all right. So at this time, I would like to do this, if we could. I would like to take questions from the press for what we've covered so far. And the reason I want to do that is because if we get into a lot of Q&A, Phil Dysart, is it Dysart? I thought I said it right, yeah, is with us. He is a representative with Palmer Energy, who we're working with to shop electric and natural gas rates for the county if the ballot initiative is voted on in the county to do that in the unincorporated areas. I will add that the Portsmouth is doing a similar initiative right now. It's a little different. There's in an incorporated area for Portsmouth only, and they are doing electric aggregation only at this time. So if you live in those if you live in Portsmouth City proper, if you have questions in regards to the program that they are working on, please contact Portsmouth because it is different in that you will be voting on something completely that is just for Portsmouth. The question also, of course, is begged right after that is, well, what about the other incorporated areas? New Boston, South Webster, Raritan, Otway. They are not included in either one of these ballot initiatives at this time, but those communities can opt in to the county aggregation if they choose to do so in the future. Portsmouth can do the same thing. Right now, they're not running natural gas. They could opt into the natural gas aggregation program. And they can even select a program that we ultimately will shop, because they ultimately will have to shop for electric. They will. They haven't said, I don't think they've said exactly who, because first things first, you got to pass it on a ballot, okay, before you can even go down that path. So let's focus on the ballot initiative first. But what I'd like to do is let's cover what we've done, and then what we could do is, would we recess?
No, because it'll just be me.
Okay, yeah, we don't have to. We can adjourn, but then we will stay live, all right? And then we can do the Q&A, if that's all right with everybody, because they could really get a lot, and I'm trying to save them a lot of typing time, okay? Because we can just sit here and we can talk, and there can be questions and answers going back and forth.
And you're specifically talking the Q&A at 5:30 or after the meeting?
He's speaking at 5:30.
Yep.
But for now, we're going to offer it up for people that are actually watching right now,
Great.
which is people that aren't working right now. Okay, but we want to do it at 5:30 also for people that are getting off work and would like to watch in as well. But we also want to make sure everybody understands you can watch us anytime. Facebook Live, we don't and we cannot delete our meetings. They will be on there, so you can go in tomorrow and watch this session. You can go in whenever you want to, at 2 o'clock this morning if you want to watch this session. So the only difference is it's not live. So any questions you have, we would recommend you put on the Facebook Messenger. Then we would get notifications on that, where if we do not have notifications set up on just comments after the meetings, because they would just be numerous. Sometimes we go in and we look and we see something and we'll comment, but the best way, if you want to comment on this item specifically, go on Messenger and we'll go in there and address the question. The other thing is there is a very lengthy Q&A sheet on the Facebook page, the Commissioner's Facebook page, that covers a lot of different items on this particular subject. We want everyone to be as informed as possible leading up to the ballot initiative. I personally hate getting into the voting booth and seeing something on there that I have no clue what it's about. And a lot of times the Board of Elections people, they have very little knowledge as what it is too, because sometimes it's very complicated or very in-depth. And by doing your research in advance, it's very helpful, but we're trying to get that information out. We've done the Q&A on our page before. We've talked about it verbally in this meeting, but this is another attempt to try to get information out for the public so everybody can be informed on what's going on. So with that, questions from the press online, anything? Okay, and then we do have Adam Black with us from the Portsmouth Daily Times. Thank you very much for being here. Would you have any questions on the agenda?
Just on item 8, is it for the whole department or just like patrol?
I think it's going to be for patrol, possibly for corrections, but I think it's going to be based upon how much money they get.
Okay.
And then Sheriff Thurman will prioritize based upon that. I'm sure he's going to go for everything he can, but I read that line where it says funding is limited, and that always, when we read that, you know, they try to spread the love as much as possible.
Right.
I don't know how much they're going to ask for, but I guarantee you he's going to try to at least cover his road patrol. But also corrections would be handy too. I really do. I think so. So if you would like to, I would recommend you reach out to Sheriff Thurman for more details. He can opine on that. It's his department, but I really, again, as Commissioner Powell said, we really appreciate his aggressiveness in saving the county money, and that there is no match, which is very nice, and that he is applying for grants to pay for this, where it's not coming out of the general fund. So that's very, very good, and we appreciate that.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, public comment before we proceed. All right. Kelly Smith is with us today, and we always appreciate you being here. Would you have anything you would like to add?
Well, we have something new that
Grab a mic.
Sorry about that. We have something new that we're working on at the treasurer's office.
Okay,
It is Ohio Gains Initiative. Hopefully that'll pass in the legislature soon, so we can actually get out and promote that more. It's aimed to help farmers, schools, and universities. It's gonna make the process easier to apply for loans and open the opportunity up for more people to apply for loans, for ag business, which I know the schools and universities, they're always needing, a reduction in cost. So basically, that's what it's going to do, reduce the cost for farmers, schools, and universities with their loans.
no, okay.
And that
all
was
right.
Ohio Gains,
Ohio Gains.
and more information would be on the website.
I have a one-pager that I can
Okay.
email you.
Perfect.
And hopefully that's going to, I'm not sure exactly when it's going through the legislature, but it's
Okay.
already out there and already being discussed, and so
Okay.
hopefully soon.
Okay, so if they have questions about this, and it's gains as in gay, Gains, right?
Yes,
When
yes.
you first said it, I was like, we got gains, which we do. I mean, I'm sure there's a gain or two in Portsmouth, but when I first read it, when I first said it, I was like, gains? Okay, what's he
Ohio
doing?
Gains.
What's the treasurer doing? So, anyways, I get it. So, sorry, it's been a week. So, can they go online? Can they go on the treasurer's
Yes.
webpage and start reading about this?
Yes, they can.
Okay, and what's the webpage?
You can look up ohiotreasure.gov.
OhioTreasurer.gov. Okay, so if anybody has any questions about this, anybody want to save money,
Yes.
get on there and check it out. And it's specifically for farmers,
Farmers, schools, and universities.
schools, and universities. Okay, and that's elementary. Is there any limitation on schools? What type of schools?
I don't think that they've kind of broken it down yet,
Legislature
so-
hasn't finished.
Yes, so they'll
Okay,
have
all right.
to, write
Okay.
all that.
All right, sounds good. That's good for the press to look into also, and anybody that'd be interested.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you. Okay, Phil, guess what? It's time. We gotta adjourn now. We're gonna adjourn.
Well, for this part, do we need to?
Well, we don't have to. It's just a minute. It's the typing.
Jen, would you
We're
like to
getting a
type
very-
all of this?
No, no. So yes, please adjourn.
But we'll stay live.
Yes, we are. We're gonna stay live, and this will help cover everybody that's watching. They'll be able to watch, and it won't be a problem. And we really want to try to start this dialogue with the public in a big way, to try to dispel any confusion. And there is confusion. Trust me. I've already heard it, and it's understandable. It really is, because it's not something that we typically have done. Well, we've never done it before, so it is something new. So we really need to talk about it. So with that, are you wanting to adjourn or not?
Yeah, well, I just want to make a plug for the Otway Covered Bridge Festival.
Okay.
As an Otway
Yes,
boy,
absolutely. You better.
big beautiful
You're gonna be in
bridge
big
out
trouble.
there. My whole
You're gonna
family
be
would
in big trouble.
disown me if I did not mention the Otway Covered Bridge Festival. And that's just one of many things going on this weekend. So just get out there. Once again, support all of the people that are putting on the different festivals and activities in the community. There's a lot going on. We hear there's not. You can be as busy as you want to be.
Yeah.
There's so much. So also White Gravel Mines kicks off this weekend with Cavern of Choices. A couple of us might be in that,
Yeah, maybe.
maybe. Once again, support that. It's a tourist attraction, if nothing else. And
It is.
they're
Several
bringing-
thousand people will be coming in. It is scheduled. There are scheduled tours. So if you want to do that and your group wants to go through, get online, White Gravel Mines on Facebook, and get the
Several
phone
haunted
number.
mazes are out there in the
Oh
community.
yeah,
this
there's,
year.
well, between all the family farms and everything else, and
So
then
a lot of good stuff. So
lot of things to do. Yes, absolutely. And then the Otway Covered Bridge Festival, is that started at 9 or 11 on Saturday?
I knew you'd ask me that. It's on their Facebook page.
It's one of those.
We'll share it.
It's definitely, yeah. Get on there. Get on Facebook. Check it out. Good food, awesome food. They have artisans that are usually there selling their wares. So go check it out. It's a great time, and hopefully it's going to be beautiful. So, but I do not order weather. So
10 to 5.
10 to 5. See, I didn't have either.
I
one.
mean, they're even raffling off a gun. So
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So
Enjoy.
it'll be a good time. It's always fun. good community event, and it's always important to get out there and support that, so.
Great.
All right, okay, so,
With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second.
Mr. Powell?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye. Okay, with that, we want to have a very public conversation. I hope there's someone on there. We actually put out a Facebook post advising people about this meeting as well as the meeting this evening. Hopefully people will pick up on that and we'll have a part and ask questions and receive answers. There is a lot of confusion, and we want to get the correct information out for everybody. Aggregation may be new for Sauter County as a whole, but it is not new for Ohio in any way, shape, or form. And a matter of fact, it's not new for Green Township. They've been doing it since 2014, I believe. So 7 years in, they've been doing this at the township level for electric and gas for both utilities for 7 years. So this is not new, completely new. This has been done and it's been successful. So with that, we are going to introduce Phil Dysart, who is with us today. And if it'd be all right, Phil, could you go over to the podium?
Absolutely.
We don't expect this to
Will
be
you see
as
him on the
lengthy.
camera if he's on?
He can turn the camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you can see.
But what we would like to do is we'd like to, first of all, let Phil introduce himself and introduce who Palmer is, who you're working with to make this happen, how it's different than, say, some of the, what I call predatory energy companies that are out there doing their thing, that have actually hurt a lot of citizens in our county over the years. And I think that has kind of fed into some of the confusion and worry, concern. We want to dispel that, and we want to give the benefits, the pros on this, on how this will help Sauter County citizens as a whole. So with that, if there's no further questions from the room, Phil Dysart.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me out here and letting me speak. I figured I'd kind of go over, like you said, who Palmer is, who we work with, then also kind of just briefly get into what aggregation is, the process for it, and then kind of what I see as I call them my three big benefits of doing this. So Palmer Energy, we are an independent energy consultant. We've worked with the County Commissioners Association of Ohio, the CCAO, for over 20 years. And so we have several different programs. We're going to discuss, obviously, the electric and natural gas aggregation, but we also assist the counties with the facilities for their electric and natural gas as well. So just trying to make sure that we can save the county's money. Obviously, that's best for the citizens, and obviously that can go towards something else in the county as well. So basically, aggregation back in 2001, the state of Ohio deregulated the electric utilities. So what that meant was that you can go out and shop for your generation portion of the electric. And natural gas was around that time too. And so through the CCAO program with Palmer, we've expanded the program from, I believe we started with 8 counties, and we're up to 28 counties now that we work with for specifically electric aggregation. And so basically, what is aggregation? Aggregation is, per Ohio state law, the coming together of communities, whether they be townships, in this case a county, cities, or villages can come together. And instead of having individual residents go out and looking to purchase for their generation on the electric side of things, this allows for the entire community to go out. And so therefore, you're accumulating purchasing power, and therefore getting the savings there as well. I like to think of it as the easiest way to think about it is if you go to the store and you buy a Coke, a single Coke's gonna be at 1 unit price. If you go out and get a 6-pack or a 24-pack, obviously that unit price is gonna go down. So that's what we're trying to do here in the simplest of terms there. And so basically with the aggregation, it's a opt-out program. And so with that, what that means is whoever is eligible would be automatically enrolled, but you have the opportunity to opt out. And the great thing too with it is you can opt out at any time. There's no cost, there's no early termination fees, no penalties. You can get out of it. It didn't used to be like that previously, and that's where some of the misconception might come from too. There was early termination fees. Now, with everything that's ran today, there are no early termination fees with the aggregation program. So that's a good thing there. So basically, what would happen is we'd have to put it on the ballot, which we're doing. So it has to pass by a majority vote. And if the issue does pass, then there will be 2 public hearings, which will be posted, obviously. You can do them in the same day, too, so you don't have to worry about kind of getting everything situated. But 2 public hearings where then the program will be discussed further, go into, again, the whole process, just kind of giving everybody a refresher of what's going on. Then with this case, for this being the Scioto County program, the commissioners would become the governmental aggregators. And so with that, they are the ones that would be going out on behalf of the residents of Scioto County. And so once the commissioners are certified, then what we do is we go out for a competitive bidding with the suppliers out there. And so that's where this kind of changes the fact there. So aggregation, a lot of times you can go with one single supplier. We've seen that. You can go directly with your Energy Harbors or your AEP Energies. The nice thing about the CCAO program, like I said, having Palmer as the independent consultant, is we have about 8 to 10 suppliers that we go out to with this bidding. And it's 8 to 10 because we've thoroughly vetted the contracts, we've taken a look. The problem that you see is a lot of the distrust and everything that happens is you look out, you can go to your apples to apples online and look on there, and you can see great prices, but the problem is you're not reading the fine print. And that's what we're finding a lot of people don't read the fine print. So you see this great rate, and they're telling you, let's get you signed up for 3 years, but in that fine print, that rate's only for 3 months. So what are you doing for the other 33 months of the contract? I mean, it could balloon on you, it could go up and down. So that's the nice thing is going with this aggregation program through Palmer. Like I said, we vetted the contracts to make sure there's none of that kind of funny business in there. But then on top of that, once we go out for that competitive bidding where we make sure we go out and have several suppliers bid on it, therefore guaranteeing, the best price out there, what happens is we get the pricing back. What I would do then is come forward and present this to the commissioners, give the recommendation. We usually have a top 3. We have terms usually of 12 months, 24 months, and 36 months. We give our recommendation. We're not the ones making the decisions. That would be for the commissioners to decide. So come back with that, have the pricing. The nice thing about that is once it's decided, we go with it. Then we would usually we send the top 2, maybe 3 contracts. They would go to the county prosecutor, so he or she could also review the contract as well. So you're not only having it vetted by Palmer Energy, but also the county prosecutor would be looking over the documents as well to make sure, again, none of the fluctuation or anything like that. So what would happen is, like I said, it'd be a fixed rate for whatever the term is, 12 months, 24, 36. So once we get that contract signed, what would happen is we would take that out. The supplier would then approach the utility, and they would cull the list for eligible residents. So what do we mean by eligible? Anyone that is not in a co-op, so you'd have to be with AEP Energy or Columbia Gas. You also wouldn't be eligible if you're currently doing your own contract. So I know there was some concerns about, well, you're going to take us out of our contract and we're not going to be able to choose. That's not how it works. If you're in a contract, you will not be a part of the aggregation. Now, vice versa, if you would like to come on, if you're in a contract and we don't pick you up initially, yeah, that can absolutely happen. What we'd recommend is you reach out to, the county, and the county will reach out to Palmer. We'll be put in touch. We want to make sure to look at your current contract because we don't want you to get hit with those early termination fees. That's the big thing. You might have a terrible rate and the county rate looks a lot better, but we need to make sure you're not getting hit with those early termination fees because some of them can be quite excessive. I mean, and I'm sure you've heard of stories and that happening. So the biggest thing is we want to make sure that we are saving money for the residents of Scioto County.
But once their contract expires,
Yep, they can.
they do have to opt in, or would it be automatic?
So I believe it's every 2 years, a letter gets sent out again and that's what, kind of getting ahead of myself here. So after the contract would be signed and we'd pick up the eligible residents would then receive an opt-out letter in the mail. And that would be from both, it would have a message from the county commissioners, but it'd be from the supplier that had won the bid for the aggregation. And so on that on that opt-out letter, like I said, it'll have everything. It'll have the term for you. It'll have the price for you, which is fixed for that term. And then it'll have also who your supplier is going to be. Your bills will still be the same. You'll still get a bill from Columbia Gas, or you'll still get a bill from AEP Energy. If the lines go down, AEP takes care of the lines. This is just strictly for that generation portion of your bill. And so on that, if you would like to be in the program, do absolutely nothing. If you'd like out, you fill out the bottom card that comes with the letter, turn that back in, or you can also call. Some of the suppliers have it set up to where you can go online with your number and you can opt out online. That's not every supplier, but there are some out there that make it that easy. But so regardless, you can opt out, and if for some reason you lose your letter, you forget about it, you can opt out at any time. You just have to call the supplier, call them up, say, hey, I don't want to be in this program. You're out of the program. You don't have to worry about it. And so the other thing I should mention too, that I saw, the percentage of income payment plus plan, the PIP plan that some people are on for their electric, natural gas, those people also would not be eligible for the aggregation, because obviously you're probably getting a better deal with the PIP than you would be with the aggregation. So again,
It's subsidized.
correct.
Government
Yep.
already, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So
Subsidized program.
they're pulled from the list
That's
as
very
well.
important for our community. I'm sure we have several people on PIP, and well, I know we do. And that has been something that's been brought up. People have asked, and they need to know they're not part of this. They will continue to get that low. That's
Correct,
just
yep.
as if they're on a contract.
Yes.
They're in a contract with somebody.
Yeah, the aggregation will not be able to pull them up. When they go out for the culling of the list, the supplier, those meters will not be on that. So they make sure that the PIP is still there, because again, like you said, it's subsidized. You're probably getting a better deal than what the aggregation could provide for you. But long story short, getting back to can you opt in? So what happens is every couple of years, another letter would go out reminding the residents of Scioto County that, hey, this is the aggregation program. It's essentially another opt-out period, but again, you can opt out at any time. At that time, when that second letter comes out, if they haven't already tried to get in by themselves, because you would be able to contact the supplier and put yourself in once the contract's up. But if you haven't done that, you're not under contract, then that time when they come through again, it would pick back up the
Okay.
meters that come. Because you have people that are moving and new residents and everything like that,
That's a lot of
so.
work to figure that out.
So that's the good thing about that. But yeah, like I said, I mean, that's the big thing to remember. So like I said, you have the process, you have the vote, and we do all the paperwork and everything like that. That the opt-out letter goes out. It's a 21-day period, so you have 21 days to turn that back in. What happens then after that? Then you get another postcard from the utility that says, hey, you're switching to whoever the supplier may be. You actually have 7 days to rescind on that as well. So if you happen to forget, but again, if you don't, for some reason you missed it, you're on vacation, something like that happened, you want out of the program, you can get out of the there's going to be no early termination fee, there's no penalties, no one is stuck in the aggregation. It's truly, if you want in and you want to participate in the savings, absolutely go ahead and do it. If you have a contract currently that you like I said, if you're in the contract, you won't be picked up, and if that's something where you feel comfortable and you want to shop yourself, you can still do that as well. You just would opt out of the aggregation program there.
In other communities, you've already done this in, what's the typical opt-out rate? I mean, if people are getting a lower price, like, I'm just trying to give people an understanding, like, everywhere else is 90%, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Do you have a rate of people that
So
stay
usually,
in the program?
usually we bank on when we go out for, when they do the listing, and we have an idea of what the meters are, and then, when they come back, we know exactly who's in it.
Yeah.
We usually bank for, I believe it's about 80% is in the program.
80% stays in?
Yes, correct, yep, not opt out, yeah, 80% stays in. And then again, it's the same thing, some people don't know they're in contract, and they could get out of it too, so, that's where you see some of that too. We have people call and we assist them getting into the program when they realize, well, hey, my neighbor just got this rate, what happened with mine? And it could be several things. They might have missed it on the coal list. They, like I said, they might be in a contract that's not a fixed contract where they could get out of it month to month, but they were in it, so they couldn't pull it off of the program there. So again, that's something easy to do and something that, again, one of the perks of working with the CCAO program in Palmer is we're there to assist the residents and to assist the county with, anything like that, any questions. If people are having trouble opting out, again, that's something we take care of as well. So that's one of the benefits of having that consultant to be able to assist you there with it.
Can you speak to the rate? So I know for Scioto County, there's not a number because you haven't put it out for a bid yet, but can you speak toward the savings maybe in a similar community, aggregate rate versus what they're already getting?
Staying with the versus the utility. Yeah, so usually we see on average about, on the electric side, about $30 a year. And then on the gas side, again, just depending, there's a couple different ways to go on the gas side. If you went with a fixed rate versus a fixed basis, which is something to discuss, we usually see anywhere from, $10 to $15. So, I mean, it could be upwards of $50. The big thing that I always like to say is you're obviously going to save money or else you wouldn't be doing it, but the big thing is you just don't know what's happening out there and what people have gotten into. And I could tell you just from personal experience, I've helped my parents, with their gas bill, had no idea they signed up for something. It had to have been 10, 15 years ago. Made sure to get them in the aggregation back home. They were saving over $200 a month on it. And again, that's an extreme case. Yes, that's an extreme case. They have an old Victorian home that requires a lot of heat. But they had such a high rate they had no idea about, because again, majority of people, we want to pay our bills, we want to keep the lights on, we want to heat our home. You don't look at the little things and see, wow, I've been paying a extremely above market price for this. And that's where the savings is great, but the other big thing to me is the peace of mind. We're making sure, hey, we have this rate, it's locked in, this is what it is. You're not going to see that go up and down from month to month. So what's the difference between doing the aggregation versus being with the utility? The utility is not going to have bad pricing, but it's something that kind of fluctuates, so it can change from month to month. The aggregation could help with budgeting. You're going to know what your pricing is for the whole time through that term. So
I think another thing to keep in mind is energy prices probably are not going to go down. All right, so if you can lock a price in now, then you can budget that, and it's a lot better to budget it. I do not have natural gas in my house, unfortunately. A lot of the natural gas in our community is more in the city of Portsmouth and to the east in some of our communities, but not all of them. Mostly in Portsmouth, it has a lot of natural gas, but I have propane, okay? And my propane bill went up 20% over last year at the same time. So it's the markets. There's not a whole lot of control that we have over that.
Yeah.
But if you can lock a price in, I was already told when I filled up my tank, come January, get ready. It's probably going to be volatile. Literally, I was told that. So if we can lock in energy prices now for an extended period of time, it's a positive. Anyone that would say, well, $30, whoop-de-doo. Well, here's the thing. If you actually had to do something to make that $30, that would be one thing. But here, you're going to get that bill anyways. And you don't have to do anything to earn that bill other than you're running your electric or you're running your gas. So you're going to do that anyway. So why not save $30 or $50 or $20? It's a vote. It's a vote. And we should all vote anyways. We should all vote. And that's, I guess if you had to put a price on it, that would be the price, but it's a privilege to vote. But and I want to add something too. Natural gas is volatile right now. We've read a lot about that. We've talked about this, that natural gas right now is, we don't know where it's going to go. And that's one reason we're looking at this right now and really, I mean, it could skyrocket. It really could. So we're very concerned about natural gas. And I want to say this, if we can't save the citizens of Scioto County money, we won't turn it on. We just won't flip the switch on natural gas because it wouldn't be a benefit. We would have to watch the markets and wait till everything came down before we could act on it. But we would still have that ability to act on it when that time comes. Energy markets are going to ebb and flow. They always do. But right now, I mean, gas especially is an issue. Electric seems to be, well, but it could electric
Yeah,
can start
it's
climbing.
starting to increase because it's
It-
associated with,
Because
natural
of gas,
gas.
because we're using more gas for power, we've replaced the coal plants, we're using more gas, we're going to solar, we're doing all these things, but there is a price to pay on the back end of this thing, because the energy cost itself could go up, and we're seeing that. Renewable energies, is higher, and until there's a number that's reached, for renewables, you're not gonna see a drop, and even that's questionable. We're not sure, but anyways, I just wanted everybody to know that we will not do it unless we can save money. It just doesn't make any sense to do it.
Yeah,
So-
and the program, I mean, we're not gonna put you in a situation to where it's gonna lose the citizens' money. I mean, I can tell you from experience just recently, we've halted a couple of the programs that we've had running for years because it doesn't make sense to do it right now. So it's not just something where we're like, hey, let's go, sign the contract, we're ready to go. No, it's thought through. It's, like I said, you have Palmer as the independent consultant for the CCAO. And so that's something we have, like I said, we've been working with the CCAO for over 20 years, but Palmer has been involved in natural gas for over 40 years. And the company was founded back in the 1980s. So, I mean, it's something that we're experts in the field in. And again, we wouldn't want to bring the program if it's not going to save money. That's not going to look good for, the county, the CCAO. We need to make sure that we're looking out for the
I'm glad you brought
residents.
up the relationship between Palmer and the County Commissioners Association of Ohio. A lot of people don't know who the County Commissioners Association of Ohio is. And they are the governmental arm, the lobbying arm of all of the county commissioners in the state of Ohio. You have committeemen also, not committeemen, but up in Summit and Cuyahoga County, council people. They have council people, but these individuals, they are one big group of people. All the commissioners are part of CCAO, and when we are lobbying for county issues, we are working hard to indigent defense would be a wonderful example that we recently did. We utilize County Commissioners Association of Ohio to do that. We can't always be in Columbus, but they are. They're there, and they work for us. In addition to that, the county also benefits greatly so that the taxpayers of the county benefit greatly through other entities that are similar to what Palmer is doing. We have SEBCO. SEBCO is an entity that is where we do our health insurance. We have saved millions of dollars through SEBCO. All right. They go out and they shop. They work hard to keep those rates low. We have, in the last 3 years, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've had a plus in 3 years of 1.2. We're at negative 0.1 this year on our premiums. Folks, that isn't happening anywhere else. They work hard to save us money or to keep our premiums at a zero gain, so the taxpayers they don't take it on the chin, because at some point we have to pay that bill. All right, so we've been able to keep that very, very, very low. And if anybody shops private or sees even what's happening in the public realm all across the United States, insurance rates have climbed dramatically. Medical insurance has climbed dramatically. We have been able to keep that like this, and that is unheard of. And it's only because of the buying power. All the counties coming together and going out shopping for insurance. And instead of one county going it alone to shop, all these counties are coming together and saying, look, we represent millions of people. That's who you're insuring, is millions of people. And it works. It works. Same thing for our casualty insurance, our property insurance. Corsa is another entity that we use. Same thing. Our police cruisers, our county cars, our property, our buildings, county-owned buildings, all of that is under Corsa. We save money using Corsa for all of our insurance. So it's buying power is what we're talking about here. And through buying power, you save money. It's the Pepsi example or Coke example. It's the same thing. So that's what this is all about. It's all about saving consumers money. And if you say, well, $30, whoop-de-doo. Well, $30 times a lot of people, a lot of households. And when you do that, all of a sudden people have more money in their pockets. You're able to say, okay, I'm gonna spend that $30 doing this, or I'm gonna spend it on electric, or you have more options, but it adds up, and as a community, you're keeping more dollars in the community. That's the idea. And hopefully, you're spending those dollars in the community. That's the idea. Small town, shop small. And that's what we're after ultimately. But saving the consumer money is huge right now because there's so many price pressures. Inflation's going up. You're paying more for a loaf of bread. You're paying more for a gallon of milk. This adds up. And if we can help relieve that on the other side by doing something like this, that's what we want to do. So with that, do you have anything else you would like to add before we start the Q&A?
No, like I said, my big three things that I always think about is, like you said, the savings.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously that's good whenever you can save. The second thing is the opt-out. You don't have to be in this program. You can get out whenever you want to. Yep, you can. If there's people shopping currently, you're going to be with your contract that you have. If later on you figure out, hey, I'd love to be in the county's program, you can join later. So you're not stuck in this program by any means. It's something that should be beneficial for people, but if you can find a better rate, shoot, more power to you, obviously. But a lot of times we find that most people are just trying to keep the lights on, trying to keep the house warm. And so this will help. Like I said, the third one is peace of mind, to make sure you don't have that. You get this great, wonderful deal, and it's a month or 3 months, and then you have no idea what it is. You don't know if you're locked into it. You're stuck for 3 years. This is cut and dry. You get the information sent out to you, and I'm sure the county will have it all over the website, and so you know exactly what your term's going to be, what your fixed price is going to be, and who your supplier is as well. So, like I said, that's the three biggest things to me, I think, and that are extremely beneficial. So,
we're trying to make this as transparent as possible. We want to get this out. We want people to be able to read into it and see exactly what they're voting for, and trying to get it out to as many people as possible. It's very hard. Believe it or not, there are some people who do not listen to the radio, do not read the newspaper, do not go on Facebook. They're busy, they got lives, they're just doing, or they just choose to be off the grid, and that's okay too. But we're trying to get it out to as many people as possible, get the facts out so people can make an educated decision at the ballot box. And I think it's important. I really do. We wouldn't be doing it if we didn't think it would benefit people. And so with that, are there any questions online? Anyone today? None. All right. Okay. So that's why we're doing 5:30. You did so good. Nobody has questions. But we are going to be adding it to our website. We will be doing that. Okay. We do have Aldine Gaspers with us today. Thank you for being here. She is in Green Township. She's not just wearing green because she wanted to wear green today. She resides in Green Township, and you have a question.
I do. Actually, just asking you to clarify to the customers out there, because it was something that came up for us, and lessons learned. We look back and said, we could have done a better job at educating and informing our citizens in this way, which is what the county commissioners are doing right now, so thank you. A commentary. I guess if you look at it as, we as citizens, as residents, don't have a lot of control in things that we choose, especially when it's at a larger governmental or regulatory agency, like the rates that are on your standard bill for AEP, if that's who you were with, or Columbia. In this case, you do have a choice, and you can control it. Just like driving down the road and seeing a gasoline price is this, I might go a little further and it might be that, and I might be able to choose some of my savings. But having that $30 reassurance that it's not going up because we're locked into a fixed rate is really, really big. It doesn't seem like that, but it is. But my question is this, if you would speak to and answer it officially. If a resident is currently on the budget plan where they pay a certain amount of money that's determined based on their usage and the average usage, does this affect that budget plan at all?
Yes, so the budget plan, depending on, there are suppliers that it would continue for them, but no, if you're on the budget plan, that would be recommended that you would opt out of that as well, because it would affect. So what I've actually called the utility on this and found out about it. So what that does is the budget plan, it doesn't take away your budgeting, but the way that the system is set up, if you go away from the utility on the generation side, it messes up the system. So it still budgets your distribution costs, but then the generation, if you're not with a certain supplier, that wouldn't be affected by it. So that could affect your bill, yes. And so to the point where you would probably want to opt out if you were on the budgeting aspect of it. Mm-hmm.
Is there a budget provision that they could have their bill broken up so much?
That's a good question. I'd have to look in and see on that. Like I said, so I know, and I believe it was AEP. If AEP territory happens to have AEP Energy as the supplier, that's one where, because it's a subsidiary of the utility, they actually have it built into where it could be budgeted for you with the generation and the distribution. So as far as the other suppliers, that'd be something that we'd have to look into, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like it's going to be dependent on who would win the bid.
Correct, yeah. So I mean, and that's something,
Okay.
again, I would have to check in on that to see. I don't know if that's something that we can have the suppliers put in there. I don't know if it's at the AEP level where they can only do that for certain supply. We'd have to look into that.
I think there'd be a lot of people interested in that, and because I know there's a lot of people on budget. We're on budget. My home is, so it'd be a good thing to know exactly what that looks like.
Sure, yeah.
And yeah, so if
Definitely a good point, though. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what you can find out today before 5:30, but
See what I can do some digging, see what I can find out.
yeah, that would be good. That's a great question. Thank you. You got anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay. I know I actually reviewed Green Township's contract, and it's I forget who it is that the supplier is for that, but yeah. So, but it should be interesting to look at. But the rate was low. I mean, it's
So
a
in
good
Green, do
rate.
you still have the budget plan? Is that an option? So in Green Township, they still have the budget plan with aggregation. So that's
Okay.
good.
Yes.
Good.
All right. So that would be very important, especially for any incorporated or unincorporated areas that would want to opt in to our plan. It would be very nice to have that. It
Sure.
really would. So that's something we would have to negotiate and get that into the plan, because I would say that'll affect several people
And
inside.
that could
the
be
county.
part of the bidding process, if that's a requirement.
Can you put that in as a RF?
I would have to check in and see. I'm
an
not,
RFP,
couldn't
but put
speak
it
to that
as
right now.
criteria.
Yeah,
Ideal.
I can check in and see for us. I'm not, like I said, don't want to speak on that because I don't know for sure. I'd have to
Okay.
check with people back in the office.
Okay, and then the other important point was the PID. I think people that are on that plan, they get their electric paid, it's really low, because it's right now it's covered pretty much by government subsidies, that they are not affected by this. And I think that really is gonna be important to a lot of our seniors, low-income people, that they're gonna be they're gonna be glad to hear that they don't have to be impacted by this at all. And we'll have that number. I mean, there will be quite a few that'll fall
Sure.
into that number. So.
Well, and the important thing too is obviously they still have a say in the vote. So it would be
Yeah.
a vote for your neighbor per se instead of,
For your
you know.
kids?
Very good
Yep,
point.
exactly, for someone
Yeah, if
else you could help
If you're
out.
a senior and you have kids that, live and they're not on a subsidized program at all, but you want them to be able to benefit from a lower rate, then that would be a good vote, a good move, to help them. So we don't want to forget that. We got to remember our neighbors. So, all right. Anything else? Portsmouth Daily Times? Okay, all right.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, and we'll turn the camera over here. Phil will be glad to get off camera. Okay. Do you have anything else,
I have nothing else.
Commissioner Powell? All right, well, thank you. Tune in tonight, sounds like we're on TV. Tune in tonight, there will be a Facebook Live, just like this, that'll happen at 5:30 from this room, a virtual Q&A for the electric and natural gas aggregation here in Sauter County. Be prepared with your questions. I'm really glad that the Portsmouth Daily Times covered this today. Thank you so much for doing that. They'll be able to get the news out to people via newspaper as well as your webpage also. They're on Facebook as well. And they'll be able to get this out and we're going to do everything we can to get information out. And again, this is up to the voters. We're glad that this is something that we can present to the voters, and this is your decision. This is your you are being empowered to do this, because it is we the people that counts here. So we need people to go out and vote. And again, Commissioner Powell will be covering this evening. Did you know that?
Tune in at 5:30
Yes.
tonight.
Yes, and with Mr. Dysart, and I'm going to be attending a township meeting, so we're splitting forces here tonight. But we appreciate everybody's help and appreciate everyone's participation today. And God bless, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. All right, we're out. Thank you.